So, all right, everybody, I need you to make a lot of noise right now. Go. All right. That was kind of dog shit. So, when I do it this time, I want you to give it everything you got. When I bring up my good friend, you've seen him on the live streams, you've seen his specials, you read his tweet. Oop, not that one. Everybody, please make some noise for the very funny, my good friend, Mr. Owen Benjamin.
Thank you. It's so nice of you. Before we get started, this is our last show of the tour, and I'd just like to give a shout out to Eric, Dolev, Ben, Brandon, Coddington Bear, all you guys for making this happen. So please give them all a round of applause. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't ask for better people in my life, and it's just been great. So, because it's a weird time in comedy right now, you know? Comedy's becoming threatened. People are getting weird about comedy. Like, people are getting weird about everything. And I figured Vegas is the best place to go because there's no way you guys can act weird about anything here. Like, what is there going to be a protest when everyone's just, like, strung out? Like, I just think that this isn't fair. I'm offended. I can't feel my face. I can't feel my friends. But it even hit Vegas though. I just read this story that Montecore the tiger who attacked Roy from Siegfried and Roy 11 years ago can't host the Oscars this year. Because Montecore moved on with his life. He's a tiger. And then they dug up the old stuff 11 years ago. They're like, that was a hate crime because you attacked a gay. And the tiger was like, guys, it wasn't because he was gay. He's a full-blown Nazi. Look at me, I'm a white tiger. You know how hard it is to get a white tiger? These sick bastards needed one though. And then they poked me all day and pinched me. And now I was just playing around with them. I could have killed him if I wanted to, man. I'm a tiger. And they're like, you gotta apologize. Like, I'm not gonna apologize until he apologizes to me for giving me AIDS. Yeah. And then he looked to his other tiger buddies to have his back. He's like, we're tigers, right? And then the LGBTQ went to Tony, and they're like, what do you think of homosexuals? He's like, they're great! And Montecore was like, you sellout son of a bitch. A heterosexual tiger he's got no place in Vegas anymore. It's the only time a straight can't beat two queens here, apparently. I couldn't even say that without laughing. So this has been a fun ride for us. You know, we drove the whole way all together. And we started in Utah at Salt Lake City, and full of really good people, real positive people. When they settled Salt Lake City, they were just starving and thirsty and just tired, desperately looking for a place after being kicked out of Missouri for some reason. It's a true story. And they find a lake, and they're like, finally, water. And they're like, what is this? We can't even drink this. But Mormons are so positive, they're like, it's great. It's a great Salt Lake. And they can't even use it for anything, but they saw it as a blessing, and that positive attitude got them through some tough times. You know, and now these dudes, everybody there has some sort of small business that they're trying, like Tupperware or something, or like paints. They're like, yeah, we're a Latter-day Paint service. Me and my 45 sons, all named Jacob, spelled slightly differently. And the cool thing about them is they're not hypocrites, they're loophole guys. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are amazing at finding loopholes. They're like, yeah, Joseph Smith said no coffee, Monster Energy. Right? Loopholes. They're not allowed to have tattoos, but I found out that Salt Lake City has the most plastic surgeons in the entire country. So they're like, no tattoos, but big fake tits, big fake balls. Big old fake balls, just big. Not breaking the rules, loophole guys. I want to get giant fake balls, like cute, like preposterously big. And then just get mad when people look at them. Like every 10 minutes, I'm like, eyes up here. Eyes up here. I'm a human being. I'm not my giant balls. Yeah, I know they're huge. I know I went into credit card debt to get them. But they aren't for you. They're for me and just who I am. I don't need you to look at them. They're for my back. Another thing about Utah is they got the team Utah Jazz, and I'm a musician. I played piano my whole life, and it is common knowledge where the word jazz comes from. That guy knows. Does anyone know what rock and roll originally meant? Sex. Rock and roll. It was because they had to subvert meanings that they couldn't say. Like they couldn't say Elvis wants to bang all you guys. So they would say rock and roll, and they'd all like wink and stuff. It meant sex. Rock and roll meant sex. And jazz meant semen, jizz, cum. That's what it meant. Jazz, smooth jazz, baby, jazz. That's literally what it meant. Jazz was slang for jizz. And they call it jazz. Jazz. Jazz hands takes on a whole new meaning, huh? And so these Mormons were so hardworking and positive, they didn't think for 1 second that they might want to look up the word, and they just brought in the Utah cum. And then we went to Denver. Denver's cool. Denver, like Vegas is cool because you guys legalized craps. They legalized crap in the street. That's real. They made that legal. You can legally defecate in the street if you're a human, not if you're a dog, but if you're a human, because it is a sanctuary city for Californians. So all these Californians leave California because they've ruined their state, and then they go new places and vote for all the stuff that just ruined their state. And now Denver, with all these illegals, these Californians, I mean, you'll just see gang vaping in the streets. just everyone's getting vaped. I don't get why people vote like that, man. And like most of my friends most people I hang out with, like I meet a lot of people in my life, and people are pretty good. I want to know who keeps voting for nonsense. And I found out who it was in Vegas. You guys have thousands of people living under the city. You guys know about that? They're called sewer people, and they only come out once every 2 or 4 years to vote. And then they go back down. Nevada is 90% federally owned land, and they're trying to make it 91% because they have filled all of that with Hillary Clinton bodies. And no one thought that was possible. Like the mafia, the old mob guys are like, how'd you do that? And Hillary's like, I also have Bill. And they're just filling it with bodies. Yeah. And then we went to New Mexico, and one of the best shows we've ever had. It was like odd how fun it was, but we realized that in New Mexico nobody blinks. I don't know if you've been in New Mexico, but no one blinks and they just stare at you all the time. And I've always been fascinated with aliens, so we went all over New Mexico looking for them, and I did not realize the universe was full of Mexicans. Every grain of sand on a beach is a Mexican in this universe. And they're flying saucer caravans. Las Vegas is the only city we've been to that doesn't seem to mind illegal Mexicans. And I figured out why. It's because, hey, just wait for it. How do people not understand the rhythm of comedy yet? He just jumped the gun. He was fired up. He's like, he's at Mormon on Monster Energy drink right now. He's like, it's bullshit, bro. I mind. Because there's a job in Vegas that no one else wants. Because my brother does, he's an arborist, does tree work. I've done tree work. I've done construction, a lot of jobs. That's one reason why I always get annoyed when my liberal friends from LA don't understand that. They're like, the Mexicans come and do the jobs no one else wants. I'm like, they're currently underbidding me and my brother. Like, they don't understand that, you know? And, but there is a job that no one really wants that the Mexicans will do, and that's flicking escort pamphlets. That's the one job. Like, I've cleaned, you know, I used to clean dorms. I've been a janitor. I've dug holes for people for money. The one thing I don't think I would ever do, well, I would never clean up jazz. But I for sure would not walk around streets holding these thick flyers and just clicking them and just handing them to children with naked women on them. That's one job that I feel like you guys are cool with giving up. And then we went to Phoenix, and Phoenix is interesting because they're very rebellious. And I'm a rebellious person. I'm not a big fan of authority, just like most of Americans. You know, my family first came here in 1710 just to get away from a king, and because they may or may not have been murderers. And Americans have a very don't tread on me, don't tell me what to do mentality in a cool way. Like, I won't do that to you either. Are we good? But then you go to Phoenix, and it's just annoying. They're like, we're not doing daylight savings time. And everyone's like, dude, come on. They're like, no, we're not doing it. No. I was like, dude, it's really inconvenient for travelers. Like, as we're driving through, we all have to remember that you guys took a big final stand on this one, that you won't do daylight savings time. They're like, it's not saving time. Where's that hour go for 6 months? Why don't I get it, you know, some sort of more minutes on my hour? Who gets it? I'll tell you who gets it. The Jews get that hour. And here's the thing about Phoenix. It's like, guys, you have more important things, like the fact you don't have any water and you keep building. Why don't you go ahead and secure some of that water, and then you can worry about rebelling against daylight savings time. Hey. I have a wonderful family, and I think having a family is everything in this world. You guys got family? Family's how you get through everything. Having family is everything. It gives you a why. You know, everybody needs a why. You know, stuff doesn't do it. You just keep getting stuff. But you don't get a why, and you end up, you know, in the sewer voting for people. I just don't. Is it because it's cool down there? Like, because of the heat? Is that what it is? But couldn't they get I feel like there's better ways than to live in a sewer. Try it. You're in Vegas. Well, you know, I don't know, man. I feel like it's more expensive to live in a sewer because you probably have to get a lot of booby traps. You know, there's not a lot of safety down there. You're constantly watching your back, and you're I don't know. I won't overthink those guys. But one thing that I noticed happened to me is ever since having children, I stopped watching pornography because I've read that it's really bad for your brain. It just, you know, and I felt like it makes you kind of narcissistic, and being on the road a lot, I have a lot of free time. So, you know, you want to, that's why I quit chewing tobacco a long time ago, because being on the road, it's just, you know. And also I just feel weird with kids in the house looking at porn. It just makes it way too real. Like if you're looking at porn, you're like, there's literally children in the home right now. Like I just read Hungry Caterpillar, and now I'm looking at a different Hungry Caterpillar. It's good for you to quit porn. Like porn it makes you kind of nihilistic. You're just kind of empty. You know, you just give up all your jazz strength. Because you want that jazz, you know? Gives you power. It's like camels with water. That's like us with jazz. You want to just drain it for nothing? But I'll tell you what happened. I thought it would be a hard habit to break. It's oddly easy, and I'll tell you how. Because somehow, for some reason, I just organically replaced it with conspiracy videos. Because it wasn't the porn, it was the bender that I was addicted to. It was just opening windows and being like, no way. Easily replaceable. And now I don't understand how people don't question things. Especially Vegas. Like all the people that are like believed you're a sheriff with his little story. Have you gotten infuriated with friends that are like, yeah, makes sense? It's like this is the story a year later. A year later. Yeah, so we had an elderly man shoot 500 rounds, not automatic, semi, 500 rounds from a far distance with military accuracy. No one has video of it. Well, if they did, they've mysteriously died. And no video at all in Las Vegas of a shooting. None. And the top 6 floors of Mandalay Bay are owned by the Saudi Arabian prince. Do you guys know that? No big deal. And the guy has no clear motive. And then he died, and there was no real police response. And, you know, looks good to us. And these people are just like, yeah, sounds good to me. Because their balls are empty. They just keep draining their skepticism. Legalizing weed and free pornography is by design. And I only know that because I don't smoke weed and I don't drain my balls for no reason. They're like, yeah, that makes sense, you know, but I really want to know what the Mueller probe brings back. I know people that were there, like we all do. It's like, what do you want to know? Do you want to know how Donald Trump paid Stormy or who killed our friends? And it's like, they're like, well, you know, it just happens. A guy just brings like 8 guns and just brings them up there, and people have bad days and shoot, you know, impossibly accurate. People are like, but don't the guns get like hot? Like multiple guns. That answer that? Right? And yeah, and then his girlfriend just bailed to the Philippines, and no one's talked to her. We don't feel she's relevant at all. Not of interest at all. But what is up with Stormy Daniels? I mean, after Trump had sex with her, how did he pay her to be quiet years later? People are cool with this. If I were Trump, what I would do is I'd go off one of the leftist feminist things so they'd have a hard time to argue. You know, the feminists are all like 77 cents on the dollar. They're trying to close a non-existent wage gap because they don't factor in that mothers don't work a lot. Ha! No one wants to factor that in, but that's cool. So why doesn't Trump go, listen, I am a feminist. Every woman that's ever had sex with me gets 80,000 cents on the dollar. Nice. And the craziest thing about the shooting here is the lack of video. That's the thing that always kicks me, because there's video of everything. Everything. Everywhere I go, everything I do, there's someone took a picture or there's video, or so it's the easiest thing in the world. And in the age of smartphones, there's no video. And I'll tell you another thing that there's no video of is you guys are going to immediately respond like I'm crazy. the moon landing. Hear me out. Just hear me out. I can see a few of you have already connected some of these dots. And before I even say this, just know that not only have I changed Eric's mind, who's very skeptical, he's now mad at me because he wanted to believe. He's like, I was hooked up to Neil Armstrong. I'm like, you still can, man. You know, don't black people like people that don't snitch? You know? Snitches get stitches, you know? Isn't that what you guys say? And that's the biggest secret ever. And he kept that just boop, boop, boop. All right, so there's no video footage. So the lunar landing, they have this like grainy footage, and then someone finally was like, yeah, can we see the real footage? Because they said they recorded all of it, the telemetry data, just thousands of videotapes. And they're like, oh yeah, we got it. NASA, we got it. You know we got it, you know? They're like, you got it? They're like, of course. It's the greatest achievement in human history. Why wouldn't we have it? We told you we had it. And they kept pushing, and then the Freedom of Information Act and stuff. And this is their excuse. Obviously, they don't have it, but this is the excuse is the funniest part. They go, you know, we searched for it and found out that we this is from the New York Times. This isn't like some wacky like youdon'twhackoff.com conspiracy theory. They taped over them. What is he, Patrick Bateman from? I have to return some videotapes. It's like I was returning videotapes. They taped over them. Not one, not two. Thousands. There was thousands of tapes recording all the information. They had the good video. They couldn't broadcast it then, but if they have the technology to land a man on the moon, of course they had better footage. Duh. So where is it? You know, there was a Friends marathon, and this is all real. And they said there were budget cuts in the 70s, and they didn't have more tapes. So they had to tape over the tapes they had. I want to know what was more important than the moon landing. They're like, oh no, Gary was telling stories. It gets way crazier. That's the tip. Okay, to get through the spheres, to get into outer space, it gets very hot out there, outside the protective layer of our atmosphere. It gets up to 2,000 degrees, the whole thing. The melting point of all the materials used in the original shuttle would have absolutely melted completely. All of it. Still good? All of it melts? All good? It's like putting it, gone. They have like this paper thin thing. There's radiation. There's so much radiation. Like, you know the dentist, they put lead on you? That's the dentist. Out there, there's just constant radiation. They had nothing protecting them. There's no lead. So they protect you more at the dentist than on the moon. And they have no recordings. And then they were, you have to have 5 feet of lead to get through that with a human being. Because the problem with NASA and the problem with lies in general is the original liars die or bail, and then the new crop forgets them. All these astronauts have been interviewed recently, and they're like, well, we still have to, when we're going to Mars, we have to figure out how to get through the radiation, how to deal with human life, because we haven't cracked that code yet. And they're like, what about the moon? They're like, I'm dead, so you can look all this up. And the head of NASA was asked in an interview, so why don't we go back to the moon? Like, we never go to the moon. You guys are trying to go to the Mars. We just never go to the moon? He's like, oh, we could, but we used to have the technology, and we destroyed it. These are quotes. We used to have the technology, and then we destroyed it, and it would be very expensive to rebuild the technology we had when we originally went to the moon. So, unfortunately, the technology just doesn't exist. Because now, with all this technology that runs our life now, the real good shit, like the good technology, like the walking on the moon technology, yeah, we bailed on that, like hard. And people are just like, you're a conspiracy theorist. People don't even know what words mean. This is why I love you guys, because I don't even like calling you fans, community, because it's not, my mind is blown by the conversations I have with some of you guys. So fans sounds weird. So I don't know if a community, I guess. But as a performer, a lot of performers, like fans, bring them like drugs or like panties. You guys bring me dictionaries and Bibles. So, so I'm oddly well versed in words. And conspiracy just means that people get together and they form a plan. Like, for example, we conspired to have a show tonight. That's what it means. And people would be like, you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, then that means you're, and I mean this technically and not as a pejorative, retarded. Because retarded has nothing to do with Down syndrome. It means underdeveloped. In fact, moron is way more offensive. It means someone with an IQ of 50 to 69. Yeah, retarded was not tied to the eugenics program and was originally the PC term for moron, idiot, and imbecile. 3 categories of people with deficient IQs that were being, they were having their jazz removed. But this is when things go off the rails. Now that I'm married and I have children and I'm trying to like make sure that my kids have a normal life, but at the same time, I read up. Like right now on Christmas, we're celebrating Christmas, and I was just having this talk with my wife. I'm like, I think Santa Claus is something going on with that fat fucker. This is when I admit I can go off the rails a little. I'm like, I think it's some deep state shit. She's like, what? I'm like, it's conditioning children to be okay with surveillance. You know, he sees you all the time. He sees you all the time. All the time he's watching you, naughty, nice. He has no rules of service, no terms and conditions. You don't know what makes you naughty, what makes you nice. What is this, Twitter? It's his decision? Tell me the rules, Santa Claus. I want to know. And then, he gives you presents if you're a good boy. And then we were cool with elves, sweatshops. Like they just slip that in, all these little elves. And then what do we get if we're bad? Coal, anti-fossil fuel for no reason. What if I want coal? What if the price of coal exceeds that stupid little wooden thing and I want the coal? Can I negotiate? And how about the fact that we all statistically and mathematically know at a very young age that a sleigh physically can't go house to house around the whole world, so we're now becoming okay with cognitive dissonance. And what's up with this little Satan deer, that the Satan horse that like rules the horses with the red face? He's special because he has a devil nose. What's up with that? And then I'm like, and baby, where are the elves? Where are the elves? Where? And she's like, and then she just fucks me. Because at that point she knows that I have too much jizz for normal thoughts. And that's my advice to married guys. A lot of married guys I know are like, yeah, we don't have as much sex. I'm like, stop whacking off so you get so annoying she has to fuck you. And then as soon as we're done, I'm like, yeah, Santa's cool, man. He's a good dude. And then later I'm like, ho, 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 why doesn't he say rejoice, Jesus Christ was born today? He never brings up Jesus once. Santa, anagram for Satan, just... No, Santa's great, dude. I love that guy. So jolly. I love jolly. Man, I want to be Santa Claus. This is fun, man. Thanks for being such a good audience. Right? Like, yeah. Thank you. And it's cool having one of my best friends be Nimmer and having him being so funny and just a great dude to just roll with, and he's like, tough and stuff. He's a total package as far as friendship goes. And not pumped he's black, but small price to pay for that brain and for that dedication, that character. At first I was like, oh boy, I don't want people to think that we have to do this. But you've seen him, one of the funniest dudes around, so, he's with me. No, but here's the funniest part about Nimmer. Nimmer also has a conspiracy-oriented mind sometimes, too. One of the smartest dudes I've ever met, to the point where it's insane, but we have different conspiracies that we care about because of how we were raised. Like, I have, I like focusing on Mandalay Bay and the country music crowd that was just decimated. And he's like, yeah, man, I don't listen to country music. I don't know anything about it. I don't know that genre. I'm like, it's not about the music, man. He's like, yeah, but it's not my genre, bro. And then like an hour later, he's like, bro, in Katrina, they heard explosions destroy the levee. I'm like, it's not my genre. He's like, they flooded the black neighborhoods first. I'm like, I don't know that genre. Might have been a good move. I don't know. I wasn't in control. I didn't have to make that call, neither did you. And he gets so pissed at me when I talk about Hillary Clinton's body count. He freaks out. I'm like, yeah, so Hillary Clinton. He's like, shut up, dude. Because that was his explanation. I was like, what's up with the black community always voting Democrat? Like, the Democrats are terrible to black people. Like, why do people do that? He goes, because we know Hillary kills niggas. There's something about black people where when they see a thug, they know it. Like it's Suge Knight and Hillary Clinton. They both dress the same. And that's all it is. They don't like them. They're like, dude, Hillary Clinton kills niggas. Don't say shit, man. And then he'll run his mouth about everything else except for Hillary. He's like, dude. And she does. They kill people. All right. I mean, all these jokes were written this week, so bear with me a little bit here. I love being a dad. I love being a dad because it's so motivating. Like, a lot of young dudes are scared to have kids because the media portrays dads as, like, idiots and it just pathetically, and that's not reality. Being a dad is awesome, and also, like, money. People are like, I don't have enough money to be a dad. I'm like, my grandfather was a 7-fingered lead miner, and he had a bunch of kids, and they went out and they killed food. My mom, they had nothing, and they made it work. And also, it motivates you. Like my son's first word literally was more. And every day that I would just be chilling and he'd say more, that's all I needed. I just hit the ground running that day. He'd be like, more. I'd just be pouring cereal. I'm like, baby, get the bigger bowl. One time I was cross-country skiing and he was, I pull him in this little thing and he's just chilling like a king, and I'm like a horse, but it's fun. And I'm like feeling good. I feel like my cardio's getting going. And he's just like, more. I'm like, eye of the tiger. And he's like, more. I'm getting dehydrated. I don't stop till he falls asleep and I'm exhausted. And then I go home and I kiss my wife, his mother, and he just goes, more. So I brought her upstairs and made him a brother. And then finally he learned the word no, and I haven't done shit since. But he just learned it was the Illuminati. But that's all. Also, it's not expensive to blow a kid's mind. You just have to be specific. Like little things. Little things can blow their mind. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it. Like my son loves trucks. Despite the current narrative, boys seem to prefer trucks. I never pushed it on him. I didn't sit him down and give him shock therapy and said, look at the truck, not the Barbie. He naturally just likes trucks. He's like, truck, dump truck. I'm like, yeah, truck. So I'm like, I'm gonna blow his mind. So I got him a little toy truck. He freaked out. He's like, Dad, truck. I'm like, yeah, maybe Dad's the greatest thing in the whole fucking world. And I'm like, hey, baby, you see how this kid's looking at me? Look at him. He's like, Dad. I'm like, yeah, you see that? Yeah, that's right. That's right, that's how I roll. I blow minds. And it was like $1. And then he started watching Monster Jams. Now he's watching Monster Jams, 2.5. He's obsessed with Monster Jams. They're monster trucks, but specific Monster Jams. He goes, Monster Jammies? Because I've watched enough conspiracy videos to keep him away from that dirty Doug Disney, so listen, no, there's a little occasionally, because my wife likes Disney, it's a balance, but Monster Jams, he loves the specific ones. And now when I go to get him trucks, like today, me and the guys were looking for toys for Walter, and we kept going to toy stores, You know, because that's what you do when you come to a city. You only have 2 hours before sound check. You spend the whole time looking for trucks for a 2.5-year-old. And I realized that it's not just any truck. Like, he needs monster jams. Like, if he saw Zombie, he would fucking lose it. And there's very little else in the world that can do that. Think about how jaded human beings are. They're like, yeah, it's not my phone, my car, life sucks. And that's why they come to Vegas and like kill a whore or something, and they still feel nothing. You know, Hillary Clinton's miserable because she was never president, so she's like, my life has been ruined. My son's like, truck! And that's it. And it gives you spirit to see a child. It makes lies kind of not ring as much anymore because you see what life is really about. He's just all about, for a while he was just all about tits, like hardcore, just. And then he's proud of accomplishments. And that's what I think we're missing a lot in this world, is just letting people accomplish something. Like, he's like, I pooped in potty. I'm like, I'm doing it now. Like, now I every time I piss outside, I'm like, I just pissed. And he's like, fuck yeah. And then, even though he's 2.5, he hangs out with me a lot, though. He's like, but what are the Jews up to? The Jews. This just makes me laugh. It's like everyone just wants to blame something. But it's just evil. You know, there's no demographic for evil. Or just things you don't understand. Like, I don't know. It is scary to be a parent these days, though, given what they're learning in public school. We're going to homeschool. I'm done with that, you know. And so, yeah. That's, it's... Public school has just gotten nuts. And when I was a kid, public school was abusive, but it was the type that's okay for dudes. Like, you just get called a faggot and kicked in the head. Because it didn't mean gay. Everyone knows it didn't mean gay. It just meant different or soft. No one knew what gay meant because we were children, and that's not an appropriate conversation to have with a child. So when we called each other faggots, it meant that we were weak, soft, or wore colored pants. And it wasn't because it was homosexual. Again, kids don't know. I thought dicks touched like this with gay guys until I was like 30. Like, I thought gay guys just tip to tip and smiled. This visceral hatred for homosexuals is made up so that people can wear like colored pants. And everyone knows it. Everyone's like, you know, oh, so you hate gay people? It's like, gay faggots? And so there's just this mass acceptance of a lie just to not get kicked off Twitter or Facebook for people, and you're not missing anything, you know? Just let them kick you off. Because now it's gotten crazy. Now in like 2nd grade, they have LGBTQ classes. They teach little kids about tolerance for LGBTQ. This is 4 years after truck. Can you imagine? I had a hard time handling that in my 30s. I'm a very experienced person. I was like, because this is what blew my mind, is the B contradicts the T. Bisexual implies a binary world of sex. Bi means bi, two, male, female. T means nothing matters. There's infinite genders, so bi is hate speech. They have hate speech in that little thing. At first, I thought that it was logical. It was lesbians, gays, bis, tris, quads. Because that makes perfect sense. 2, 3, 4. I didn't know what 3 or 4 was, but I know better than to trust the gays, or to question the gays, not trust. That was a weird slip. I know better than to trust the gays. Yeah, because if you give them an inch, they'll take 8. Yeah, I don't know how it kicked in. The kids aren't old enough to deal with that, and that's all that people are talking about. And then they say you're homophobic. You have a phobia. You have a fear. I worked in Hollywood for 12 years? You know, successfully. You know, Eric neglected a lot of credits when he introduced me. No one's scared. No one's like, I can't leave my house. I've had to see a therapist. I'm on Xanax and it's getting like, I'm on like 10 pills a day of Xanax or I can't even handle it. It's like, what are you scared of? You're like, rollerblades, sparkles, guys who shop at Banana Republic. I can't. No. It's just not a credit. That's all I care about. You do your business. If that's what you're into, if you're like, listen, man, I am all about sodomy. I'm like, okay, just don't teach it to don't talk about it to little kids. I don't talk about sex at all with little kids. Like, you know, mommy, we haven't had this talk at all, but when he asked me, I'm gonna be like, mommy and daddy love each other very much. And then God gave us you. And then later, maybe he can discover the horrors of all of it. But that's all it is. It's not that we're trying to exclude homosexuality from this earth. It's just don't talk about it to kids. You know, it's like gay pride parade. All right, have pride. Everyone deserves pride in who they are. And then it's like just a naked dude in chaps just blowing a guy. Like just broad daylight, Main Street. And a little kid's just like, what the fuck? That's when they learn the word less. And, you know, because there's good people, bad people. Being gay just doesn't make you good. It's just a factor, like height. You know? It's like all these people, like the Salt Lake City elected a lesbian mayor, and they can't stop talking about it. The first lesbian mayor. We have accomplished something. I'm like, what is she, what's her policies? That's cool about all that stuff, but, you know, what's she gonna do for the city? They're like, the first lesbian mayor. We are on the right side of history. How? Because all your little group, all your firsts all agree policy-wise? That's an inversion. And they're like, bigot. And I'm like, listen, she's anti-gun, but pro-scissor. So, it's just not a credit. You know? That's all it is. Like Muhammad Ali was so good at boxing, you forgot his name's Muhammad. No one was ever like the first Muslim boxer who sucks. If you're just awesome, like Jackie Robinson, you know, after like a few years, everybody's like, oh, that guy's great, man. It's great. Can you imagine if they just pushed a shitty black guy in the league? The first black baseball player who fucking sucks. Because when they push the shit on you, it kind of messes with your head. Like when I was a little kid, but like my parents, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she was a professor, and then she stayed home, and that's when she kind of got a little red pill before that was a thing, because she saw all the women immediately act like bitches to her because she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom when she first held my brother, and they're like, you're losing to men. Like, where's your strength? And she's like, this is my strength. Like being a feminist, I thought, man, I get to choose my world. And she was born in the 40s, so back then she had a point. She's like, I just want to be able to swim in the water hole, like with the boys. And I like to wear pants. Mission accomplished. You know, so I've always had an analytical mind and stuff, and I was raised with a lot of books, and I always thought science was a great thing, and I still do with the lowercase s, but this big ass science, you know, like science. Do you deny? Do you deny? I am Bill Nye. Do you deny? My wife, Amy, is a stay-at-home mother, and she has more accomplishments in the field of science academically than Bill Nye. My wife, Amy, went to USC. Thank you. My wife, Amy, went to USC for engineering and had the same thing as my mother. My mother, same thing. One of the first women to go to college, held a baby, was like, this is, and I'm so glad my mom made that choice. Can you imagine me if I didn't have a stay-at-home mom and I was raised by strangers? Yeah, you need more federal land for the bodies, guys. I'm a crazy person. And but that interaction with humans was important for me. And then, So I went to school, and this is my first interaction with science as a redeemer, as a religion. I remember in 1986, they built up this event for weeks. They were like, the first female school teacher astronaut, not. And we're all like, what? They're like, there's never been a woman, look at how powerful she is, with an astronaut suit just like a man would have. And my teacher was a female, and she was so pumped. She was like, finally, one of us will walk on the moon. Back then, I should have been like, bitch, no one's been to the moon. But so what did they do to us? I was 6 years old. They wheeled in a little TV. And I didn't have a TV. My family was very poor. We couldn't afford, I didn't have new clothes till I went to college. It was all like a nickel. My mom's still like that. She's like, you paid more than $1 for your pants? Fag. And so I had no experience even watching television. This was all mind-blowing to me. And so they wheel in this squeaky-wheeled little TV, and they're like, kids, we're about to witness science. And they wheel it in, they're like, this is the Challenger. And it's sitting there, and the whole class is staring at it, just these little kids. And we're all like, okay, and they're like, mission control, 3, 2, 1. And that's just, we're all like, so, this is great, we're accomplishing it. It just goes up and it's showing pictures of the woman and her job and her at the school, and all of a sudden, and our teacher's like, and then no one said anything, and they just wheeled it out. And it took me a little while to understand what I just witnessed. I just emotionally connected to this woman. I was like my mom was a teacher, and oh my, she's about to. What was that? And then they tried to explain it to us, but barely. There was no safe space stuff back then. They're like, well, they tried, and now their flesh is vapor. Just. And it's just never addressed. That's the whole thing that I don't care if people are wrong. I'm wrong all the time. It's just at least acknowledge when you are, and then I can trust you to move on. But they never acknowledged that what we just witnessed was insane. In the same time period, they were telling everybody that AIDS was a big threat to us kids because of wrestling in gym class. They're like, if you hug your friend, you may get AIDS. And I tried to get my parents to give me an AIDS test when I was 8. And my mom was like, what? I'm like, I need an AIDS test. I just want to know. I don't want to be Arthur Ashe. And she's like, what is happening? Are you? And she didn't. She was like, and I'm like, because I high-fived my friend and he had a cut. And Oprah Winfrey said 1 in 5 heterosexuals by the year 1990 will all have AIDS. And turns out it's still just gays and tigers. So I'm still waiting for these stats to catch up. And then I wanted to be really healthy. I wanted to please my teachers and authorities and science. And I was like, what should I eat? I want to eat stuff to make me strong, big and strong. And they're like, well, science has solved everything. Here, boys and girls, no matter what your parents say at home, they're all liars. We have something called the food pyramid. All the science in the world has calculated exactly what a young boy needs to grow, and that is mostly bread. 11 servings a day, 11 to 15 servings a day of none of that homemade grainy shit. We're talking bleached, because bleach cures disease, and bleach kills bacteria in your toilet, just in your gut. This is all real. This is all real. And it's bromated to get that extra kick, and then it's enriched with the vitamins and minerals that you truly need. Not what food and God provide. And then there's some veggies and fruits if you're a homosexual. A little bit of meat, but very little, because there's fat in meat and fat in butter. Have margarine. Margarine, which is chemical waste that no one even knows what it is should replace butter because butter will make you fat because there's fat in it. And do not deny this. And my mom was already into, organic food and all that stuff. She's been ahead of the curve on everything. And so I was like, well, my mom, we're in a co-op that later became Whole Foods, but at the time it was cheaper. I'm like, well, we have this organic, whole grain, locally sourced stuff. And they're like, your mother is a whore. She's a dumb bitch, you should work. And so I ate it up and I got real fat and kind of slow. Just fat and slow. I played piano all day, long, alone, which kind of paid off a little, I guess, but it was very depressing. And then I was like, I got really scared by the news of the upcoming weather events. What were that? Of course, it was acid rain. Of course, DDT was going to make it so there was no more birds. Aerosol, hairspray, made it so there's no more ozone layer. But the big one, global cooling. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming because of what you do. I was like 7. What did I do? Did you need to use that fan this summer? Because that's all burned by coal, which, as Santa Claus has told us, is for naughty boys. So the earth cannot handle what we've done to it. We've raped it. So it will become cold like a snowball. This is all mainstream science. Global cooling is coming, so get blankets. My Native American friend was like, fuck you guys. So I got all in it because I was raised in such a good environment with my mom, my authority. My father was working, but also great authority, that the authorities had my best interest. So I'm wearing like 3 pairs of socks. I'm gearing up for the cold. And I'm trying to not like have my light on as I'm reading. And so that was that. And then the final one was I wanted to grow up to be a hero. Like, I want to be a hero. Like, what is a man? What's a strong man look like, guys? Who's our hero? And they're like, search no farther, guys. There's an American hero. Everyone knows it. He just brought home a gold medal. And we put him on the Wheaties box. That is a man. He said, feet do not fail me now. And he muscled through like men do. And that is Bruce motherfucking Jenner, ladies and gentlemen. That's a man's man. And so I grow up, and it turns out the food pyramid is completely upside down. Not only was it wrong, every part of it was 100% wrong. The world is getting warmer, and Bruce Jenner is a mangled-faced murderer. So, the frogs are gay. Thank you. How can you not believe in science? I'm like, listen, there's no proof of Russia collusion, but I have seen a frog sucking a dick for honey smack. All right, guys. I'm going to play you guys a little music. You want to hear some music? Hello. I can see I'm like the Snoopy kid. Like every piano is just, that's when you see my gargantuan size. Mm-hmm. So here's a quick song for you guys. Here's a new one. All right. You guys hear me? Is this mic still the same? Is this a good mic? Awesome. All right. All right, so what we got here? Gun control to David Hogg. Gun control to David Hogg. Drink your soy drink and put your rollerblades on. This is Owen B to David Hogg. It looks like you don't have pubes. And you and Cooper want to tell me what to do. Here. No, that's not. So here, and I'm sitting in my Twitter bag. The Twitter bird is blue, and it's run by all the Saudi Arabians. Thank you. You guys are a fantastic crowd, man. Thank you. Hang on. What's the deal with Jews? I just saw that today. And by the way, I got nothing against Jews. I just think that's crazy funny. Like, the funniest conspiracy theory of all time is that the Jews control the weather. That makes me laugh so hard that there's just a bunch of Jews, and they're like, look at this asshole walking. Not just ringing on this fuckhead. It's just the weather. That's just so funny to me. What's the deal? Anti-Semitic Seinfeld is pretty funny. It's like, what's up with the Federal Reserve? I mean, who owns it? Yeah, I mean, there are Jews that do some horrifying things. But it's all Dalmatians are dogs, not all dogs are Dalmatians. It's a logic fallacy. Keep your eyes on the Amish. I call them the Illuminamish. They're slowly owning all the land in Pennsylvania, and they know that there's going to be a power outage coming very soon. Sure, we laugh at them. We're like, look at these idiots riding horses and buggies and knowing how to churn butter and make their own iron and homes, and they're worth literally billions and billions of dollars. What a bunch of fools. They're the ultimate preppers. They're just like, to survive, just do the same shit we've done since we found out the Jews were going to do it. One thing that I've noticed about music is it's gotten pretty bad. Have you guys noticed that there's no good music now? It's happening with everything. It's like beauty is now like racism or something. Like art. It's like, remember the Mona Lisa? Well, here is just a dot of period blood. That's true. This is the truth. That's not exaggeration. That's a dot of period blood. It's worth $3 million. The real art is watching some dumb asshole pay that. You know, it's like, we don't need function or form. You know, we don't need these big, beautiful buildings. Look at Obama's library. It looks like just a mess. And it's great. It just looks like shit. And don't architecture shame us. Now look at Hillary Clinton. She's dressed like Mao Zedong if he was a crayon. And that's fashion. Don't fat shame Amy Schumer. Her body is just as good as an attractive body. It's not the same thing. It just so happens. I mean, tell me where my logic is off. And that's when people call you names and get you all persona non grata. You know, like, I can't even perform in most theaters, and I've gotten, like, darker now. This is almost a response in a way, and I'm still not even offensive. I'm not a hateful person. I relieve people's stress in a lot of ways. You know, people never are like, man, that joke was savage, dude. You're such a dick. Now people are like, yo, man, I used your joke, and me and my wife got along. That's me. Ha ha. But these people are like, there is no difference between men and women, or you are a Nazi. I'm like, but there is a difference. You are not allowed to speak if you believe that. Now look at the dot in the period blood. It's just like Starry Night. I'm like, no, men and women are fundamentally different. You can make that argument for races, but men and women are completely different. And if you don't think so, you just might be a sodomite. I don't think it should be illegal. Go for it. You go fuck each other blind.
But just don't act like you have some sort of virtue just because you pound a dude in the ass. I'm never gonna apologize to you for being hilarious. Never. Because apologies now have no meaning. Apologies only work. Like me and my wife had to go through this phase where I would do it as well. I'm not just gonna throw her under the bus here, but we would both take back apologies sometimes. You know, we'd be like, well, I'm not sorry then. That's not an apology. Like once you do it, it's over. That's it. It's just no more. You know, we both were like, so you have to understand, apologies are very valuable. It's like if you apologize, it means you want to be redeemed in the person's eyes because you're really sorry. And you've learned, and in the future, it won't happen again. Hopefully, who knows? We're all flawed. That's an apology. Saying, this Heisman guy saying that he apologizes for calling his buddy a queer when he was 14, or else he can't get the Heisman, that's called an act of submission. It's not an apology. That's an act of submission. So as a musician, I've noticed that music's gotten kind of wacky. What do you guys, can anyone name a band that's formed after 2015? Can you name one band? Yeah. Okay, guy, what? It's like me and my buddies. We call ourselves the Tuna Heads. What, who? Love and Death. Love and Death. How many, make some noise if you've ever heard of the band. So, okay. What my point that I'm trying to make, and I do appreciate you being honest and participating. You did? Yeah, well, I guess a lot of... It's what? It's an ex-member of Korn. Because so many people are dying to keep up with all of them. Or it's like, what's the bass player of Korn been up to? Have you seen his new tracks? Because they had a K backwards, so they're like, oh, cool. Korn. That's cool. I don't hate on Korn, but I don't know much about him. It's just... the K thing confused me. And sometimes that's all it takes with me. I'm a horrible speller as it is. I can't spell restaurant without the... Like, the squiggle is like, no fucking clue, dude. And I have the U wrong. It's like, you... Where's the U go in restaurant? They're like, if you don't know, we're not even gonna guess. So when someone spells corn with a K, I'm like, is this right? No. I don't like to be tricked. But my point is, all modern music is remixes, DJs. You know, you take old stuff, you just, you know, the Ghostbusters, now they're all girls. We're so creative. Ghostbusters is the one movie you can't make female. It's about cum. It's about jazz. Oh, Don't Cross Streams, Slimer, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, covering every dude. The slime is building under the city. Just dudes with, like, it's a teenage boys movie. It's like saying Steel Magnolias, but girls. It's like, or boys, or whatever the fuck women watch. Steel Magnolias, Fried Green Tomatoes, but all boys. And they're gay, and I don't fucking know. That's not creation. You know, and especially with hip hop, it's like, way back in the day, it was good. And black people, historically and currently, in my life especially, are unbelievable musicians and singers because of gospel and jazz and blues and stuff, like, ridiculous. But when you finally get to the mainstream, it's just like, y'all in the club, in the club. I got a gun in the club. Yeah, club. That's the end result of that, you know? I think the last mainstream hip-hop song that I liked was by Eminem. It was on the 8 Mile soundtrack because it made white people feel like we had black people confidence. And it still happens. When this song comes on the radio, every white dude just like puts his hood up and chills. It's like... Have you had soccer practice and your dad forgot to pick you up? Do you walk home in the rain? Or do you wait for Chad's dad? If your mom packed you yogurt, but that bitch forgot the spoon, do you use your finger? Or do you take Chad's extra spoon? And every white kid's like, yo. And the song that ended it for me, and this is back when we still had songs that we all know, that we all can identify as a group. You know, they're starting to splinter us off, right? Just about like herds, like zebras, just, you know? None of us know all the same song. No, there's no Zeppelin. There's no Stone. It's like love and gay shit. Does anyone know it but me? I'm in the same boat. I'm not making fun of you. Just the fact that, what was it called? Love and what? Was that exhausting for you? It's like, oh, how many times a day do you whack off to porn? Be honest. You sounded exhausted. You're like, I don't have the strength to say it again. I was just on a bender. I had more windows open than Wolf Blitzer, man. It was a situation room. I couldn't even finish. My dick is so numb. So, it's Too Late to Apologize by Timberland. I really liked it, and I buy what I like. You know, just like you guys. You got a ticket, and then my wife emailed you the location, almost like it was a speakeasy where I'm selling crack. And then you guys show up to this community center, and they have this beautiful theater in a bizarre place. Right outside, there's people just shitting, but you know, mainstream Vegas. I'm dead serious. It takes a while for me to get a venue because mainstream venues are like, oh, and Benjamin, we don't want the hustle. It's like, there's legal prostitution and street shitting here. It's like, yeah, but that's not what Owen does. What Owen does is talk about marriage and piano. It's problematic. Problematic doesn't mean anything. But anyway, so thank you all for coming. You support what you like, and I do the same thing. I was like, Timberland did a great song. I'm going to buy it, you know? And so I bought it, and then I found out it's not by Timberland. It's by a band called One Republic, and this is the only thing Timberland added. And then the band's like, sorry, you're an angel, then you go and put me down. It's like, I'm sitting on the road, watch me 10 feet on the ground. He's like, I'll call Al Sharpton, bitch, what are you gonna do? Pay me, motherfucker, pay me like we got Starbucks to pay. Can you imagine a time when people would comply to that before now? You know, imagine Timberland producing Beethoven. You ever think about that? Go way back in time, see if there was a hip hop producer way back in old Austria. You know, if it was like, and Beethoven was deaf. He still would have been like, what the fuck? Timberland, you did you want money? I wrote the song. Get the fuck out. But he still was like, he wrote Ode to Joy, deaf. He's like, I can't hear dick. I don't give a fuck, I'm a gangster. Now people are like, Ode to Sadness. I can't play piano because I have no cum in my bones. Like, there's no form. It's hard to be good at something. Now, people like, this, okay, here's my, this is a quick impression. This is called Everybody on Cocaine. Dude, I'm telling you, we could literally start a business anywhere. We could just sell flowers. Why doesn't anyone do that? They can grow out of dirt. Dude, we just fucking sell flowers. Oh no, Owen can't perform here. He's bad. Look up music in the 18th century, right? Art thou horny? Yeah, take that bonnet off, baby. I have cometh. If I'm ever on death row for my last meal, I will eat a pound of corn kernels, so when I'm electrocuted, it is hilarious. Gotta go out with a joke, show the people you care. You know, even if you're a convicted serial killer, it's like, the families will be there to, might as well give them a laugh, like become a popcorn machine. I mean, help their grief a little bit, I don't know. So, I'll show you, like I always liked Coldplay. There's this song, Yellow. And then I realized it doesn't mean anything, just like everything else right now. Like Yellow, I always sung along and thought it was cool. This is Yellow by Coldplay. It goes, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. And women and gay guys are like, me? Everything that you do. Everything? And it was called Yellow. I don't know what that means, but I don't care. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. If you took 10 people that like the song and you have them write out the meaning of the song, they would all be completely different. It'd be like, Yellow, man. The real meaning is school buses. Someone else would be like, no, liver failure. Someone else would be like, crayons, he gets me. There's nothing, it's gibberish to keep you confused. I'll give you examples of this with songs with the word yellow in the title, because it's infinite at this point, but like, you know, this is Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam. On the ceiling, on a Porsche, wanna lay once I saw you, always in all the way, yeah. And I call and I said, and I want to call out, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. How about a hee-haw, yeah, oh, round the world, make me pray. When I see you, I don't know where the box on big corn. What are they doing now? Hey, hey, oh, here, piece of paper, yeah. And people are just crying. They're like, yeah. Here's Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. You like the song? Here's my impression of the song. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. Fucking we all I live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. And our friend. That repetition's hypnosis. You know that, right? We all live in a yellow. And then they sent out all the pills, man. I gotta start whacking off more. And then, okay, the greatest songwriter of all time is living legend. Number one song of all time, according to Rolling Stone, was by a man named Bob Dylan, who sounds like a retarded bumblebee. Here's my impression of Bob Dylan singing a song of just nonsense rhetorical questions. A real song would be the answers to these questions, but I guess, you know, Democrats like to ask the hard questions and then not have the answers and then get real mad. We need to stop rape. So the million Somalians may have been a bad call. How dare you apologize? I mean, guys, they're literally holding machetes. That is phobia. Yeah, it's phobia of rape and stuff that's happening. All right, this is my impression of Bob Dylan. Yeah, yeah. Yes and yes and how many roads must a man? I can sing it higher. Yes and how many roads must a man before you count him in end? Yes and how many times must a man shake his head and pretend that he doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. People are crying. They're bawling. They're like, peace is possible. He's like, yes, and how many times does the cannonballs fly before they forever ban? Why does no one care? That was some gun control shit way back then. How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? I don't know. How about the FBI look into what really fucking happened? All good. All right. Like I was just in, that's another reason why the powerful people in the world don't like comedians is because we get to travel. And I was just in Denver, and they have a giant Satan horse in their airport. And it's in real life, it's terrifying. It's huge and has demon eyes and spikes, and it just looks apocalyptic, right? And so I was telling my friend that, I'm like, man, this horse is freaking me out. I think it's some like real Satanist shit. She's like, that's art. I guess you don't understand art. I'm like, well, you have an Instagram account, you think you're a photographer, and I can play Bach by ear, so I don't know, maybe I do. And she was like, well, why don't you ask the artist what he meant by it, because I'm sure you're wrong. I'm like, little known fact, the horse killed his creator. That's true. The sculptor of, they call him Lucifer, it's this big giant Satan horse. As he was finishing the horse, this is Wikipedia, the horse fell on him and killed him. So the city of Denver cleaned off the blood and charged the taxpayers millions to prop it up in front of the Denver airport. And I was forced to perform in a children's museum. Because, you know, it's not the Satan horse, it's this guy. So I started listening to more Coldplay, and I noticed something fascinating. And if you know the lyrics, please sing with me, white girls. You're a sky, you're a sky, you're a sky full of stars. I wanna give year, same band, different album. Come up to meet you, tell you I'm sorry. It's the same exact chord structure. Tears stream down your face. This is another Coldplay song with the same chords. In a sky, it's exactly the same song forever. I think it's a deep state CIA thing. Hey, hey, hey. This is only makes people feel things. It was created by the CIA. Hey, hey. Come up to meet you. You are not a sky full of stars. That's physically impossible. Thank you. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming out. And after the show, I'm just gonna fucking roll the. Well, I'll be out there and we can hang and do pictures and stuff. But I'm driving back home because my boy, like, we did a Skype and he started like getting sad because he missed me and then he got sad. And so I'm like, all right, boys, load up the truck with 24 Red Bulls. And so after this, I'm just out. And but I'll hang a bit if you want, and I know they got T-shirts and stuff and hoodies that may get you fired at work, but you can wear them other places. And I'll be back to doing live streams again as soon as I'm home. So I wrote my own #1 hit song, and I know it's never going to be on the radio. I turn on the radio all the time to see if I'm there, and it's just Kesha, like, my pussy pops and pops and pops like a bubble. My pussy. And this is why I know it's deep state shit. It's because Kesha's a great singer. She was all gospel and shit. She's like, fantastic singer. And then they're like, do you want to be famous, Kesha? And she was like, yes. And they're like, okay. And then it's like, my pussy, I have a gun in my mouth. And David Hogg is right. And I want to die. And everyone's like, #1 hit, it'll kill the people. So, I know I'm rambling a little. I just don't want the tour to end. It's just been a good time, and I just want to milk this a little bit. Thank you. So I'm going to say the title of a song. I want you guys to explode like it's a real song, like not a funny song, like real shit. All right. This next song, I promised myself I would never go back in time. But if I could play a song from back in the day, back when I used to be in a band who misspelled the first letter for no reason. It was the greatest time of my life, but, I've been doing my own stuff now, and 1 in a million guys will check out what that is. If we can go back in time just once to play one of my hits. I don't like to be a sellout, but, I miss it too. I know you do. It's called OTPHJ. That's the first time you've disappointed me the whole show. Any way more than that. That's not your favorite song. That's you doing what I told you to do because you're nice people. Pretend it's Don't Stop Believin'. It's 1975. You just smoked weed for the first. You're like, no way. This is my favorite song. Like, feel it. Let's try it again. And we'll do it till it's right. This next song, I promised I'd never play it again. If we can go back in time just once, way back in the day, back when B's were B's and G's were G's, and L's just wanted to drive around Subarus and make sweaters. You may remember this song. I know I do. It's been a #1 hit for like 1,000 years. I'm sick of the money. It's called OTPHJ. Be quiet. You're in a Walgreens and your girl is looking sweet. So you take her to the back of the store, to the blood pressure seat. You take her hand and you rub it soft and you look into those eyes. Before you know it, her hand is moving up your thigh. She's giving you an over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, over-the-pants hand job in a Walgreens, OTPHJ. Okay, that was beautiful, but I want it one last time, and I want a sing-along, because they get it. I never get sing-alongs because comedy has to keep evolving. 90% of these jokes you've never seen on YouTube, nowhere, because they have to stay fresh. Not #1 hit guys. They can play the same shit forever, and everyone's like, again! So I want you guys to know the words. So I'm gonna go over the pants hand job, and you guys go in a Walgreens, and you're crying. And this is way more meaningful than those other songs. There's a beginning, a middle, and end. This has romance. It's between me and my wife, Amy. It's about commitment. It's about keeping the spark. It's about spontaneity. It's about being a little naughty, but not too naughty. There's a clear line of thought, this whole song, that's beautiful. And so I'm gonna go over the pants hand job in a Walgreens, just freaking out. And I also want, just like all the other guys get, like when John Lennon is like, imagine there's no countries, and the EU and everyone's, yeah. And it's a little subtle, Jack. But like they freak out at the first one. Imagine there's no heaven. Everyone's like, atheism, you know? So, that song's horrifying, by the way. I want that too, so my first line, you're in a Walgreens, second applause break. Then big sing-along, and then we're out of here. You guys can go back to the strip and butt fuck each other, whatever. And then crawl back into your little sewer. And then just take those pamphlets and just furiously whack off until you can barely say the name of a band twice. You're just so tired. And I respect all your choices. If you didn't have choice, the good ones wouldn't mean anything, you know what I mean? So, you know, make the right one. All right, here we go. This next song, I promised someone very special I would never play it again. And that is the Dalai Lama. And before I was curing AIDS in Africa, I was playing this song for normal people like you. Yeah, I'm 5'3", but I look like 1,000 feet tall. I'm just making fun of Bono at this point. All right, let me start again, sorry. Because I'm trying to embody what these people are like, because this is how they are. They're like, this next song, I know it got a Nobel Prize, but I'm still normal. Like, they're such fucking assholes. Until that Patriot took out John Lennon, I was nervous. Finally, someone took that little commie right out, right in broad daylight. Let him be scared. That can happen to anybody. Watch what you say, John Lennon. And then Paul got it. Paul got in wings, cleaned himself right up. What the fuck am I saying? That's another thing that keeps you like a homing pigeon going back to your wife is not whacking off. Like, I'm driving 13 hours tonight, and I'm just gonna be like, ah. If I was whacking off, I'd be like, why don't I stay here for 4 or 5 days and try this whole meth thing that everyone's talking about? This next song, I promised myself I would never play it again. Back before I did stadiums, I was just like you guys, just a poor bastard trying to get by. I get it. You may remember this one from back in the day. I know I do. I was probably fucking all your mamas. It's a little song you may remember. It's called OTPHJ. Fuck you, CVS. You're in a Walgreens, and your girl is looking sweet. So you take her to the back of the greens, to the blood pressure seat. You take her hand, and you rub it soft, and you look into those eyes. There's my fireflies. And before you know it, that hand is moving up your thigh. She's giving you an over-the-pants hand job. Over-the-pants hand job. Over-the-pants hand job. OTPHJ. You were discreet. The clerk didn't know what you were up to. But baby, it's time to go, 'cause they gotta clean up in aisle 2. 'Cause you got an over-the-pants hand job. 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 And it was all yellow. Thank you, I'm Owen Benjamin. Good night. One more time for Eric Nimmer, for Goleb, for Coddington Bear, for Brandon, for everybody and all of you that made this possible. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys for it, and keep comedy going. And until next time, I'm Owen Benjamin. Good night. Thank you.
Is that really what? Sweet Prince Productions? Yeah, that's what he named his production company, because just from one night of intense teasing.
I love that.